Okay, we're here at the 2023 Sheriff's Picnic, and I'm with Mayor Domenic Sarno, who is running for re-election. All right, you say that you've got more to do.
Yes.
You've been in the office 16 years, but you got more to do.
Yes.
So let me start with the obvious thing that I see that you like to talk about because it's on everyone's lips, and that is crime in the city of Springfield. So the question is, what do you think can be done, should be done, if you're re-elected, that you would implement to try to address the issues that we've got here?
We already have implementation plans, not only proactive, preventative programs, which I fund millions of dollars of that through schools, mental health organizations, community centers, job reentry programs with Sheriff Coachy. You name it, we fund it. And we want to show the next wave of young people that there is a better way and a positive way to go. But you have to deal with those bad actors, those bad apples, the repeat violent criminal offenders. And here's the proof in the pudding. When we did the suppression activities recently on Union, Temple, High Street, and School Street, knock on wood, there has not been one shot, spotter detection to go off. And where I'm tough on some of the judges, I will commend them. They've held some of those bad actors that are there. In these good neighborhoods, too. You have bad actors, some that don't even live there. So even my stakeholders, community stakeholders group, which I'll be meeting with tomorrow, they said, too, we got to clean out those bad actors, number one. And then all those positive programs. Those bad actors are never going to be in those programs. All they understand is incarceration on it. But that's number one there. And, you know, what has occurred here, the gun violence is an epidemic throughout the nation. We've taken a record number of guns off the streets. But you see, and you're starting to hear it more and more in urban centers, from leaders in urban centers too, that these repeat violent criminal offenders need to be taken off our streets and out of our neighborhoods. It also helps strengthen relationships between the police and the community. When they see and we work together, and then all of a sudden they see the same person right back on the street the next day, that just erodes relationships on it. So, multi-pronged approach, but I mean, you look at my record, and my record coming to be an old South End Community Center executive director, and my time with District Attorney Bill Bennett dealing with the borderline hardcore juvenile probation. I'm all for second chances where warranted. But some of these repeat violent criminal offenders, I mean, Ileon Torres, I went to that wake, that the family and friends there. That's one of the ones that out on bracelets twice. Serious charges, gun charges, drug charges. Now, if that person wasn't let out by the court system or some of the judges, Ileon would still be alive. And I, from the family, said that we know you're. You know, why was this person on the street? So it's a combination. Where it's warranted, I'm all for reentry, and with the great Sheriff Dick Coachy, we're funding a major initiative on that, so people can come back and be able to provide for themselves and their family and their community. So that will continue to be my number one issue. I'm not going to allow criminals to rule our streets. So police have been working hard. This past weekend, again, I spoke with the State Public Safety Secretary Terry Reedy, and then again on Monday. We have great relationship and full support there. I met with my task force, Monday early afternoon, the FBI, ATF, DEA, State Police with Major Shrewd, and of course my police department. And you're going to continue to see suppression efforts. Some things you'll see, other things that'll be clandestine. But I really need the courts and some of the judges to hold these really, really bad actors. I think if you do that, you will see a drop in gun violence, not only in the city of Springfield, but across America. And you're hearing it more and more from urban center leaders now saying that, these individuals should not be on the streets. So that'll continue to be my number one priority, and we do a multi-pronged approach.
Do we need more police officers? Do we need a larger police department?
I constantly do academies left and right. We do academies. I start with 50, and I help out other cities and towns. And we're lucky if we get 30 that are able to get through it. So if you're not hacking in there, you're cut loose. But the thing is, in the old days, you used to have people taking 1,200 to 1,400 individuals taking for the police exam. Now you're lucky if you get 2 to 250. Mothers and fathers do not want to see their son or daughter become police officers. It is still a very honorable profession on it. So I've continually funded academies, and we'll have more to come. And we were sort of staying ahead of attrition or about attrition, but now you have people besides retiring that are deciding to leave the field earlier. And then, when you look upon that, you see that these are important, I call them sentinels of peace. And you're not going to hear about a lot of heroic stuff that goes on. I mean, the efforts in that tragic situation of Berkshire Avenue was up to watch those officers and to see AMR rush those children out of there, block intersections to get them down to Bay State Medical Center to save lives was absolutely tremendous. And in that case there, I spoke with Mom yesterday and to offer her full support, encouragement, and the loss of her mom, the grandmother that passed away. Helen Carlton Harris, my Commissioner of Health and Human Services, reached out on my behalf. And she's going through a tough time, now. And it just, as DA Anthony Glooney indicated, how do you predict that? How do you prevent that? What that individual did. Despicable, heinous act. To do that to a hardworking family. I don't want to say what I want to say, but, when you look upon it, there seems to be, again, an epidemic of gun violence throughout the country. You can't count on the federal government they're not doing anything on the migrant situation. They're not doing anything on this situation because it's a wedge issue and the country's so divided. So everything trickles down to mayors and urban centers, and we have to deal with it and hit it head on. But, we have a lot of good things going on here in the city of Springfield, too. I have a proven track record, and I've been battle tested. Led us through a number of natural man-made disasters. The devastating EF3 June 1st tornado of 2011, which you faced head on. The freak nor'easter that occurred pre-Halloween that October, that same year. And then you move forward on that. We had to deal with the COVID situation, the worldwide pandemic, the gas explosion of 2012. So I'm battle tested. I have been able to put across strong, effective, efficient, and strategic leadership with heartfelt compassion. I love my job. I live it 24/7, and I'm honored and privileged to be the mayor of the city of Springfield. And Mike, you've been around for a while. When I took over, the city was near bankruptcy, junk bond status. Now we have the highest bond ratings in the city's history. Schools, graduation rate was barely 50%. Now we're working with superintendent work, nearly 86%. Dropout rate was nearly 14%. Now we're around 3%. Schools built in the 1890s. $750 million in new schools, rehab schools in the city of Springfield, most of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Soon we'll open up the DeBerry Swan School. Free, universal, full-day pre-K. First in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So, when you look at that, and on the police front there, again, first to bring body-worn cameras, large city in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Here, record number of illegal guns have been taken off the streets. I will continue to file legislation through State Representative Angelo Pupil on my bail reform, and I'll continue, I try to be respectful, but I will continue to stay on the courts and some of the judges to keep those repeat and violent criminal offenders off our streets. Done a lot of things with Green, my point person with Pat Sullivan. Tremendous, parks, $93 million in investment, $5 billion in economic development. Housing going on all over the place. I'm hoping to have another 600 housing units online within the next 2 or 3 years, because that's a big issue with housing on it. So, when you look upon in your area, Mike, what a turnaround. Central Street Corridor has been completely transformed, which started before the tornado.
We've got some new housing
Beautiful
up on
housing.
Central.
Got rid of derelict apartment complex. The ones that are fixed. The roundabout at Six Corners. New Brookings School. The old Brookings is housing. We did that there. Traffic reconfiguration has gone on. I mean, you roll down, and you're right off Central Street. You roll down those houses there, and then we helped houses in your area in Forest Street. Those houses would go for $500,000 in Long Meadow, if not more.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's turned into just absolutely wonderful there. We worked hard, too, on the dirt bike issue with the police superintendent Clapper and at State Police. It's not completely eradicated, but it's much, much better because we have patrols that go out there. I'm still waiting for the legislature to pass the law that we can destroy these dirt bikes. I would think that's a no-brainer, universal across state. It still has not been passed because I'll be the first one to take a sledgehammer to one of those dirt bikes. But that has gotten much, much better because Police Superintendent Clapper and our state police, our men and women in blue and myself, put on full court press moving forward on that. So, when you look at things, there's more things to be done. I want to make sure we continue to move on the housing front. I want to make sure that we continue the strong financial management. I want to keep building new schools. I also want to make sure that we're able to, the quality of life issues. Parks, $93 million of parks. Been able to keep all our libraries open, build new libraries, build senior centers, build new community centers. So all these things come into play. So there's more work to be done. And again, I love this job and I live it 24/7.
I just got to ask you one question.
Sure.
One of your opponents had intimated that our schools are failing and that there could be a receivership. Now, even though there's been nothing from the Department of Education about that.
No such thing.
The
proof is in the pudding. I just indicated that.
Right,
Superintendent Dan Warwick. I mean, that is irresponsible to make those types of statements. That's fear-mongering. I just gave you the facts.
Yes,
people are entitled to their opinion, but I'm giving you the facts there.
Well, receivership is not something to bandy about lightly, frankly.
That's right, and that's irresponsible to make that statement. I mean, the facts of how far that we have come. I gave you the facts on that and what we're doing, not only with our educational system, and you're going to have more scores that are coming out. Superintendent Warwick indicates to me graduation rate, knocked down a dropout rate, new and rehab schools being built. So for someone to make that type of comment is completely irresponsible and fear-mongering. I'm sticking. These are the facts. These are the facts on it. So, I'm going to continue to work hard. I'm going to stay on the facts of what's going on. The facts are out there.
Great.
The facts are out there.
Thank you so much for coming by, sir, as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.